if something happens that doesn't go your way, whether it's with relationships or a job or whatever, we try to just deflect it. I'm okay. It's not that big of a deal, right? I'm the opposite. I just get it out of my system. And I was just grumpy and mad. I'm like, this happened. I'm pissed. I put in so much work, but I knew I just need to get it out. And then I woke up one morning, I'm like, all right, training for next year. And then that's it. As far as community, as far as the level of skill, there's so many things about Ninja Warrior that drew me to it. But I think my favorite was that despite the fact that it's technically a competition, everybody's helping everybody else, and it becomes an internal competition with yourself. That to me is what was so fascinating. And I said, no matter what it takes, I got to figure out a way to become a part of that community, because when you surround yourself with the right people, just through osmosis, you become more like them. And that can either be a bad thing or it can be a good thing. So just thrusting myself into this world when I was completely not ready, and spoiler alert, still don't feel like I'm ready, but just being around these people has totally changed my life, despite the fact that the outcome so far, like I'm in the early chapters where I'm hoping in a few years I can be like, yep, I was a massive failure when I started, but that's the chapter I'm living that I'm working to get through right now, similar to where you were in season 1.
Yeah. Well, can I just go on record of calling it right now that this is going to happen for you and you're going to hit a buzzer? You're too, I get the sense, and I don't know you really well, Zach, but I get the sense that you're not one to let something go once you set a goal. So I have a feeling the crazy obsessed that I felt when I set that goal, I have a feeling that you can relate to crazy obsessed, and it will happen.
Yes, I have a tattoo on the inside of my forehead that reads crazy obsessed. Just ask my wife or my family about that. They'd be like, you pretty much figured them out in about 30 minutes.
Geez.
I am relentless when I decide I want to do something. So one of the first questions that I got from my wife and family and anybody else that knew what happened, they're like, so we're done, right? Like, done with what? Like with it? So the American Ninja Warrior thing, I'm like, I'm not done. Are you kidding? Heck no. Like I have to change my approach, and there are things to learn. And I had a period where for a month or two, I was like, I just don't feel like training. I just kind of want to get it out of my system. And what happens a lot with me, and I've taught my students this as well, is that if something happens that doesn't go your way, whether it's with relationships or a job or whatever, we try to just deflect it. I'm okay. It's not that big of a deal, right? I'm the opposite. I just get it out of my system. And I was just grumpy and mad. I'm like, this happened. I'm pissed. I put in so much work, but I knew I just need to get it out. And then I woke up one morning, I'm like, all right, training for next year. And then that's it. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been through that too, where it's like you say, I had dark times and I don't want to go through this. But again, it's that nagging feeling. There's something else there and I can't quit.
Yeah. I think that we must be cut from the same tree. My first season, I thought I'm really strong, and I was really strong, but I had no technique, and I was so naive, and I thought I'm going to go hit a buzzer my first season. And so I went out on the second obstacle, and it was embarrassing, and I was mad. I was just so mad. I thought, oh, this is humiliating. And we went back to the hotel that we were staying in. And I was like, Charlie, that's my husband. I said, can you take the kids and just go somewhere? And so I think they ended up going to the zoo or something. And I just had to cry. I literally just cried. And it was a sad cry, and it was a pissed off cry. And it was just like I had to cry. And then the next morning I got up, I Googled where the closest parks were, and we went to the parks, and I was like, I'm training for next season. This is the beginning of my comeback. And I'm like, doing stuff on the bars and the benches that are like a ninja like. And I'm like, I needed to feel sorry for myself for a night. And I did. And I got it all out. And I was like, even more determined. And I thought, okay, that's not how my story is going to end. And I remember thinking that a lot during some of the failure. And then during the times when I got hurt, I was like, that is not how my American Ninja Warrior is going to end. And I just was so crazy determined that it was going to end how I wanted it to end. And the buzzer was the beginning. I also have some other really big dreams and goals that I'm still pursuing on the show. But I will determine how that ends. And I think I want that power in my hands. But I don't have a timeline. And I think that's the biggest thing when people have these big dreams and goals. It's like, I don't have a timeline as far as, I don't know how long it's going to take me. But I am crazy enough to stick with it long enough to have that happen. And most people are like, I want it to happen next, a lot of people actually, it's like, I want it to happen tomorrow or next week or next month or next year if you're really lucky. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I'm going to give it everything I got. And this is my goal. And I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get there. But I can't shake the feeling that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to keep chasing after it.